Let me introduce our speaker today. So, Mr. Mujaebuddin is currently the founder and CEO for the Clinosol Research Private Limited, which is an emerging clinical research education and resources. Mr. Mujaebuddin has received his MSc in clinical research from Manipal University and M Pharmacy in pharmacology from MGR University. After his postmasters, he started his career journey with the QPS Biosov. His subsequent journey in clinical research has took a new career journey with the QPS Biosur, with a new turn into the clinical data management. He was invited to one of the prestigious IT company to play a major role as a principal consultant in designing, development, and marketing of the most popular clinical trial database. Further on, he joined his journey that is accentuated in Chennai as a subject matter expert. With his 15 years of journey in the varied branches of clinical research, he has resigned from his duties to follow his passion for teaching and started his own organization with the name of Clinosol Research Private Limited in March 2019. His mission is to bring up all the emerging pharma talent from academics and to introduce it to the companies, that is pharma CROs and IT companies. He had designed all the modules and curriculum in a way to bridge the gap between the academics and industry as a building block. He has succeeded in training thousands of students till date, and many of them are topmost position across the pharma and IT companies in India and abroad. With this brief introduction, I'll request Mujib sir to continue with the session.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I am sharing my screen. Let me know once you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir, your screen is okay.
Slides are fine.
Yes, everything is fine.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. Thank you for calling me for this session. I really appreciate the efforts which you are putting for the students and for the benefit of pharmacy fraternity. During the lockdown also, I was going through a lot of webinars which were very much useful for students and as well as faculties and research resources. So today's my topic will be more about what are the different areas, what are the jobs, which are the companies which are hiring, and lastly I'll be focusing on what are the current openings we have, how can you apply those jobs. So this is my today's topic, and I want this topic to be more interactive. So I'll be having the YouTube Q&A also. I'm having the YouTube Q&A also on hand in hand. So any questions at any point of time, you can type the questions, and at the end of the sessions, I'll definitely answer all the questions which are being asked. And today's slides, I have made it as more of pictorial representation rather than reading the slides. So I hope you would like the slides. I hope you will like this interactive session. So I think sir has already informed what is clinical research and what it offers. So my session, today's session, will follow like this. What is an ancient pharmacist and what is a current pharmacist and what would be the future pharmacist? So I have three zones. What was the previous history, what is currently having, and what would be the future of the pharmacy? So that is my first topic which I'll be dealing with. And the second topic which I'll be dealing with is what are the new arenas of the jobs? What are the new names of the jobs? So the typical industry roles. Now, if you see the right pictorial diagram, so there are so many people. There are so many people on this pictorial diagram, but these people have started from here. The start point is here, but they are enjoying their careers in a different level. Why a pharmacist can't do this? So this is what we are going to discuss today. What are the different typical roles in industry and how can we reach to that particular goal? And now the next question, most of the students or faculties ask, what clinical research can offer you? So is that salary? Is that work from home? Is that work-life balance? or is that the happiness that a new drug has came and I am responsible for doing research on that new drug? So profession, passion, and money. So I think three things together makes as a career. If you get a huge amount of money also, and if you are not passionate about that work, that is not called as a career. And if you are passionate and if you are not getting a right money or right financial benefits also, it's not called as career. But when it is called as career, you have a passion, you have a learning, you have a money. So all three together, where we can find it. So I'll answer this question. And the next biggest question, what are the list of companies? So this is the biggest myth. We think that there are no jobs, but what are the companies which hires you? Who hires? That's a questions. And next one, what the skills are required for a person or a pharmacist to become as a clinical research professional? So that is also, I will be focusing on skills required and what Clinosol does. And one of the most trending topic I'll be taking, what is a myth and invasion of artificial intelligence? How artificial intelligence can change the life of clinical research? And more questions and how to reach me or reach us, how we can do this. So this is a pictorial diagram which I have given in terms of the table of content, what topics I'm going to discuss with you further on and on and on. And which I have not put here is the last thing which I will be sharing is the list of openings currently we have and how to apply those jobs and how you can get those jobs. So that is also I'm going to discuss after more questions. Very good. So now the first pictorial diagram. So this diagram discusses about the ancient pharmacy, how it was being discussed. The left picture, the pharmacy in ancient Babylonia. So here you have three people. One priest is there, and one is physician is there, and one is a pharmacist is there. And this photo was being taken from 2600 BC. So now from there we have the pharmacy. So that picture indicates that pharmacy has a long history, how it started. And the next picture, here is an interesting picture. So in this picture, it's a pharmacy in ancient China. So there was a person who was called as Shan Nu. So he was an emperor and he tested most of herbs and roots and all those plants, products and all those things on himself. First, he used to test on himself. And if it was having an efficacy and safety, he used to treat to the other population in the China. So this is ancient China in pharmacy. The photo was being taken in the year 2000 BC. So this is about the history, which I have just put some pictures. And yeah, the next one is the Galen, the drug compounding expert. Everyone knows what to compound, suspensions, emulsions, and different solutions together. We compound and we bring a new drug and we give it. So now the responsible person for this was the Galen. So Galen was a person who was responsible for drug compounding expert. And next one, Avicenna, he was a Persian Galen. He used to write lot of books about pharmacy, and he was a poet also. But his books were very famous for centuries together, where we studied so much of pharmacy from them. And now currently also we are using so much of herbal products from the ancient times itself, where we are using some of the modification and we are bringing in new molecules or drug products. So these pictures show the first American Pharmaceutical Association Congress, which has happened in 1852. 1852, this picture was being taken. So where all pharmacists were discussing about what best can be done for the safety of the human beings and how pharmacy can evolve together. And next one. So now a revolution was there in a pharmacy education, and the pharmacy education was being made into a practical oriented work, how we can do the analysis and discovery and also identification of molecules and dispensing and compounding of the drugs. And the next picture shows the invention or development of chemotherapy. The chemotherapy was one of the most important thing because the most dangerous diseases in future. So as of now, we are speaking about COVID, yes, and we may speak about any new viruses also, but long-term problem, we have cancer and obesity and diabetes. These are the first and foremost diseases which are being cracked and which have to be cracked. So our future is how much best you can bring the treatment for chemotherapy. So the development of chemotherapy. So this picture was being taken, and the next picture, antibiotics, the era of antibiotics. So we have enough number of antibiotics currently which can treat any kind of bacteria, and we are winning against the war between the human beings and science and the bacteria. So the era of antibiotics. And yes, later on we ran into pharmaceutical research, which we call it as R&D. So by using chemistry and formulations, by using different kind of aspects, how best the formulation can be done and how best a molecule can be brought to the human beings. And then we came up with pharmaceutical manufacturing. Most of Indian companies are manufacturing, and we should be happy that 30% of whole world drugs are being given by India. So I think when US wanted the HCQs for the treatment of COVID, so US government also have requested India to give the HCQs, and we sent a lot of hydroxychloroquine tablets for the treatment of COVID to US last year. So this is one of the most important thing, pharmaceutical manufacturing. And what is today? So how it looks today? So now a pharmacist is not just a person who compounds, who dispenses drugs, who gives drugs to human beings, but beyond that, a pharmacist, a pharmacologist has lot of roles and responsibilities to play in terms of rational use of drug and to bring new drugs into the market. So this is what we are going to discuss, what would be the future in coming up slides. My next slide speaks about what are the different opportunities currently we have heard. So what are the different jobs a pharmacist was used to do? So first and foremost, a community pharmacist, where you can have your own pharmacy area, and you can start dispensing and start counseling the patients and all those things. So that is community pharmacist. And the next job was hospital pharmacist. Now it is little bit trending jobs, hospital pharmacist, where you work as in hospital and counsel the patient, see the drug interactions, collect the adverse events, and inform the patients the rational use of the drugs. That's the work of hospital pharmacist. Now, we think that hospital pharmacist does not have much work, but probably no. Hospital pharmacists have a lot of work because most of normal persons does not know much about the drugs. The only person who plays with the drugs is a pharmacist. So that is about hospital pharmacist. And the next roles which I will be discussing is production. So most of you will speak about production. You have QA jobs, you have QC jobs, you have production jobs, you have manufacturing jobs, and you have a kind of jobs where you can packing it and labeling it. So these are the different jobs you have in production zone. I'm sorry. So you have QA jobs, QC jobs, and you have packing jobs, you have labeling jobs. So all those jobs are there in terms of production and manufacturing. So these are the jobs which you have, one more time, the older kind of jobs. And you also have jobs in R&D, research and development, and you have also jobs in medical marketing. So which means that you may go as medical representative and you want to go and counsel the physicians about the right use of the drug, right dose, and what are the adverse events. You want to go and explain to the doctors. So these are the historic jobs which till now pharmacist was thinking that these were the jobs. And now what else? What else, sir? We have learned so many about this. So now what is the trending jobs? You tell what are the trending jobs. So before you understand trending jobs, one of the most important question I'll be putting you now, which was the highest search item? Which was the highest search item in Google during lockdown period? During COVID lockdown period. I'll repeat this question. Which was the highest search word during COVID-19 lockdown period in Google? So I think anyone can guess the answers. I'll be going through the answers if you want to type, or else I would tell the answer. The term which was searched was clinical research. The term which was searched was clinical trials for COVID-19. So it was a highest search term in Google during COVID-19 pandemic or lockdown. So you can understand how much role it is playing and how much it is important for human beings to understand the clinical trials. And remember, guys, one most important thing why clinical trials, all pharmacists or pharmacologists are working is because regulations, either it is EMEA or UK or Canada or Australia TGA, any regulatory body are insisting the companies to hire only pharmacists, or insisting to hire only companies to take pharmacists with a qualified and trained and experienced people. So now you may not have heard about the regulations or guidelines. The guidelines clearly says that who are educated, trained and experienced has to work in clinical research. Any other than this cannot work in this industry. Maybe in other industry it can be accepted, but in clinical research, because the safety of the human beings are most important, and we are listening so much of stories now in vaccines also. So now we should be very careful when we are hiring the clinical research professional. So now I'll speak about this is interesting picture. This is interesting picture. Is this how you see yourself? So when you join in any college, the first year you look like this picture, but after your final year you look like this picture. So why is this? Why we are looking like this? Because first year we will be having lot of energy, lot of new things to learn and everything. So once you have learned most of things, you'll be confused now what to choose, where to go, what is my next, what is my career. So this is the last year picture, and this is first year picture. Probably it's everyone's life, and it's even my life also. It's my life also. When we joined pharmacy, I was like this, and when I came out of my college, I was like this, having a lot of confusions what to do now. Shall I go to US or Europe, or shall I stay in India and start working in production or marketing or hospital or R&D? So these were the options we had and confusions we had. Now let's explore your opportunities. What is your career? So as I rightly defined a career is the one place where day by day your learning increases. Day by day you have new challenges. Day by day your financial things will increases, your salary will increases, and you have your work life balance also. You want to work only for 5 days, you want to take off on Saturday and Sunday. So you can name which organization gives this. The clinical research organizations or contract research organizations or IT companies can give this jobs, and pharmacists are being taken into these companies. So now this is what is your career. So you should have a learning, point number one. And the second point is your financial stability. So everyone will ask the same question. Boss, you said super story and all those story. You tell me how much we are going to earn. Are we going to earn 1 lakh rupees, 2 lakh rupees, 3 lakh rupees? Yes. I have my own students who are currently earning more than 14 lakhs of salary with a pharmacy qualification, with 4 years or 5 years of experience. So 14 lakhs in terms of per annum. So you can think how best the career is, how the career can be grown in terms of clinical research. So that's where I'm focusing today. So before I explain this, I want to explain about a typical cycle of drug research, or I can speak about something. We are not only speaking about drugs, we are also speaking about the few more things. One is devices, one is cosmetic products, and one is vaccines, and one is drugs. So we think that we only discuss about the drugs. I'm sorry. We only discuss about the drugs, but answer is no. We need devices also, we need cosmetic products also, and we need vaccines also, and we need drugs also. So your myth is that you can only discover a drug, but you can also discover a vaccine, you can also discover a device, you can also discover a cosmetic product. So these are the many things. The scope increases in clinical research because everyone is asking about evidence-based studies. Everyone will ask about evidence. Now you are telling that your vaccine is super hit. Thank you so much. You show me the data that how many people you have given this vaccine, how many people have gone the efficacy beyond 70%, how many people have got the adverse event, how many people have increased the lifespan, how many people have affected with COVID. So these are the evidence-based studies which we have to do very carefully, and regulatory bodies will not approve the drug or a device or a vaccine or a cosmetic product until and unless it has evidence-based studies. And the evidence-based studies has increased our role in clinical research. So now, first thing and foremost thing, we test the drug in the lab, which is a drug discovery model. And then we start testing in animals. And once animals tested is being done, so you may take different models of animals. So now the famous model is zebrafish model for oncology, which is super hit now, very trending model now. A fish which is zebrafish can be used for the preclinical testing because it's very transparent, and you give a cancer to a fish, you can see the cancer is growing inside the fish by your eyes itself. You don't need a big requirement of microscopes and all those things. You give a cancerous drug and then it increases cancer in the fish, and you give anti-cancerous drug and the tumor size decreases in the fish. It means that your drug is having super efficacy in the animals. And once this animal studies or preclinical studies are being conducted, and then you go for a submission of an application to a regulatory body, which is called as IND, Investigational New Drug Submission and Approval. You go to a regulatory body, where do you want to get approval? Like for example, if I want to get approval from FDA, then my application IND submission will go to FDA in terms of drug discovery data and preclinical data. And then once the regulatory bodies have reviewed the data of discovery, the data of the preclinical trial, whether it is TD50, LD50, MTD, or in vitro in vivo studies, that how many animals, how many species, how many genders were being taken, what is the toxicity levels, and what are the adverse events these animals are getting, and what are the efficacies of the drugs on the animals. They review the data and they give approval. So once it is approved, the IND application is submitted, and once it is approved, then it goes to a patented product. So it goes to a trademark product. So it means that no other company can copy this molecule for a period of 20 years from the preclinical trial completion or IND approval. So you start doing your clinical trials. And now here is the clinical trials. So phase 1 to 3, now recently phase 0 is also being added. Once phase 1 to 3 is completed, and then once the data is submitted to the regulatory body in terms of NDA application or submission, then your drug is being given approval for the market. So now this is the whole and sole story. In NDA application, the regulatory body would need the data for human studies, animal studies, and discovery studies, and CMC data also. So all this data they will put into review, and they will call most of the people, DSMBs or the experts, scientific experts, and they ask them to review the data which is being submitted, that what is the efficacy and safety which is being tested on human beings, animals, and discovery. So all those things will be checked, and they will be giving approval, regulatory approval. Once the regulatory body gives approval, we are in stage of a market. And once we get into market, we have post-marketing surveillance studies, which is PMS, or you can call it as phase 4. After phase 4 also, there is some more studies for getting a generic molecule into the human beings, that is BABE studies, bioavailability and bioequivalent studies, which I have not included into this. But yes, from human beings trials, from the phase 1 of the trial. So this is where your submission or your work or your career starts. If you say clinical research, it doesn't mean on animals. It means that from human beings, from here till the drug is in market, you have to conduct your clinical research. Till the drug is in market, lifelong, you have to conduct your clinical research. Anytime any new study can be designed, anytime any new study can be tested for the human beings. So this is the whole and soul story of drug research. Now I'll split some more words. Now I have given a pictorial diagram, a picture where a preclinical studies and human studies, which is phase 1, with very less subjects, maybe under 100 subjects. The phase 1 main objective is to understand the safety and tolerability and pharmacokinetics. And this phase 1 studies are being conducted in healthy volunteers, exception is cancer and HIV. And now phase 2, which is also called as therapeutic exploratory trials, where targeted patients are being tested. So a little bit more patients are being tested on this phase to understand its safety and efficacy and dose which can be used with the least side effects or adverse events with a very good efficacy. You have to decide a dose which can be used for the right efficacy and less adverse events. So these are the two things which you have to test in expanded safety with dose escalation or increasing of dose. And last, phase 3, it's a huge studies. I think yesterday or day before yesterday, Bharat Biotech has released a statement that they have completed the enrollment of 25,500 subjects. So it means that thousands and thousands of subjects will be taken in phase 3. So when you call it as phase 3, it is thousands and thousands of subjects will be so to confirm whether the drug is having safety and efficacy and interactions and adverse events, all those stories have to be understood in phase 3. So this is about phase 3 of the trials. So now our focus is on clinical trials, either from phase 0, 1, 2, 3 and phase 4, and also post-market, and also generic drugs, and also lifelong drug is in market. So I'll be discussing about those scope in today's session. Now, I spoke about this all things. If you have pen and paper, you can make a note, because these are the roles which you have in clinical trials. So the first and foremost thing, when you start a clinical trial, clinical trial teams have a different teams. I'll repeat it. Clinical trials have a different teams. The clinical trials itself is considered as clinical research. The first team and foremost team in this clinical trials is the first job, which is clinical trial pharmacist. Okay. So now he is responsible for the accountability of a drug, for the dispensing of the drug, for disposition of a drug, and for archival of a drug. So I'll repeat this. He is the person who handles the drugs which are to be used for the human beings in clinical trials. He is the person who dispenses the drugs to the right subjects who have met the inclusion-exclusion criteria, and he is the person who disposes the drugs. He is the person who archives the drug. And if in clinical trial there is no pharmacist who works in clinical trial pharmacy area, that clinical trial will not be approved, it will be rejected. It means that the first and foremost job in clinical trials is your clinical trial pharmacist. And most importantly, regulations are very stringent in terms of taking the right professionals. And probably your companies will ask about PCI certification also, a Xerox copy of your PCI certification, whether you are eligible to dispense the drugs, compound the drugs, and archive the drugs. So that's the first job. So clinical trial pharmacist. And second point I'm giving here as CRA. Okay. In a first picture, if you see, here is a lady who is a pharmacist, and here are the subjects who have to be taken this drug. And in second picture, if you carefully see the second picture, there are two people who are discussing with a doctor. A doctor here, a medical physician here, is the person who is conducting the clinical trial. But The two ladies who are discussing along with the papers and the laptop are considered as CRA, Clinical Research Associate. Now, Clinical Research Associate is second role. Now, what are the responsibilities of these people? The Clinical Research Associates are responsible to identify the right doctors. So, to conduct a clinical trial, these people have to identify the right doctors with the right subjects, and these are the people who gives training to doctors regarding clinical research protocol or ICF or CRF. All those answers should be checked by your CRA, Clinical Research Associate. Monitoring of a trial, creating audit reports, monitoring reports, and monitoring plans. So these are the responsibilities a CRA will have in clinical research. And one of the good news, what you guys have to want to listen is, these are the people who travels across the world, different parts of the world, because the clinical trials will be conducted in different parts, and we are following almost all regulations. What else we are learning is as per the global standards, which is ICH. So CRAs are the people who monitors and verifies the data that the right clinical trial is being conducted, right subjects are being taken into clinical trial, and right data is being entered into case report form, and whole clinical trial is being conducted as per regulations and guidelines. One more time for CRA, they are preferring pharmacist. It may be a B Pharm, M Pharm, or PharmD or PhD in pharmacy. The next role is bioanalyst. So bioanalyst is a person where we want to identify the pharmacokinetics of a drug product. You give a drug and drug goes into blood, and you want to understand how much drug is available in the blood. So you are pulling the blood out of the, you are pulling the blood from the human being and understanding that in that particular blood, how much drug is present. And this kind of roles are called as bioanalyst role. A simple answer, a human being blood is being taken as PK sample or PD sample and analyzed how much drug is present in the blood. So this is what you call it as bioanalyst role. This is one more role. And the next role, very interesting role, which is medical writer. Sorry. So the medical writers are the people who develops the clinical trial protocol, case report forms, the ICF, and investigator brochure, and clinical study report. So before start of a trial, these are the people who design a trial, that how a trial has to be conducted. What should be the design? What should be the objective? What should be the inclusion criteria? What should be the statistical analysis? What should be the methods? What should be the methodologies? What should be the adverse events? All those things, these are the people who writes. And for one more time, this people's salary is too much high, and this people one more time will be a pharmacist or pharmacologist, which will be hired. And the next role, biostatistician. So now if you carefully see the biostatistician, here he is showing some charts and graphs. So now once clinical trial is conducted, so once the document is created, once clinical trial is created and all those things, finally you have to give the analysis of the data, not the raw data. Analysis of the data, that what is the efficacy percentage, what is the safety percentage, and how drug is safe in human beings. So this statistical analysis is one of the most important thing, and pharmacologists and pharmacists are being hired along with statisticians, because the statisticians are the people who knows the analysis of variance, but they are lacking knowledge in pharmacy. So pharmacy people knows about pharmacy but have little bit knowledge on statistics. But the person who has a very good knowledge of pharmacy, statistics, and clinical trial, he will get lakhs of rupees of salary, who is called as biostatistician or a SAS programmer. And there is one more role which is called as recruitment, who takes the eligible subjects into trial. So taking a human being into clinical trial is also very scientific way. We are following very strict regulation and guidelines as per ICH GCPs or 21 CFRs or Part 50s or Part 56 or 312. So the person who has to explain the subject, that these are your responsibilities, this is how you have to come into trial, and these are the pros and cons of clinical trial, and these are your rights and responsibilities in participation of clinical trial. One more time, a person who is a pharmacist are being taken into this jobs, which is called as voluntary recruitment. And next, one of the most important points people may ask me is, sir, what are the jobs we have in IT sectors? Now, these are the jobs. The clinical data manager. Once you have conducted a clinical trial, the whole data has to be validated, whether we have collected the right amount of data and right subjects were being enrolled and the right data is being validated. So this all data validation will be done by a person who is called as a clinical data manager, who works at a system, collects the data virtually and validates this data. And this all data is clinical trial data. It means that pharmacist has to work. Pharmacist is a person who knows the importance of adverse event, who knows the importance of demography, who knows the importance of drug interaction, who knows importance of concomitant medication, who knows importance of the adverse events. So he is the person who validates the data. Once this validation is being done, it goes to the next level, which is, as usual, I said you, the statistics or statistician. In this picture, if you see, this is your pie chart where you are giving a graph or a picture where how much percentage of adverse events are there in 100%, how much efficacy is there in 100%, and you are also giving in a bar charts. So how many whites were being taken, how many so for example, you are having this live session, how many of you are North Indians, how many of you from Maharashtra, how many of you from South Indians. So you can create a bar chart in this. So you can see that how many people are interested to learn about this and which are the zones, which are the age groups, which are the genders. So how many females are there, how many males are there. Like this, you can statistically understand who are more eager to learn things newly and who are more eager to grow their life. I can concentrate only on those people. I can leave the rest of people. Boss, your life is good, relaxed. You don't want to accept challenges. If you want to accept challenges, clinical research is the best field you can do it. So this is about statistical programmer. Yeah, so the next one, important one, most of people ask about drug safety. So pharmacovigilance. In pharmacovigilance, you have different kinds of roles. So here, pharmacovigilance not only works in, give me a minute. Yeah, pharmacovigilance not only works in the drug safety, but also collection. First, you identify it, you understand it, you assess it, and finally you prevent it. You first detect it, you understand, okay, what is the drug risk, and you understand it, you assess it, and finally you try to prevent it. So these are the four main objectives of pharmacovigilance. And you have different teams. You take it from MICC, you take it from DSA, you take it from medical reviewer, you take it from reporting team, you take it from signal detection. So 5 to 6 teams are there in pharmacovigilance, and pharmacist is the person who is being hired in pharmacovigilance along with medical doctors and dentists. And there is one more thing in right hand side where there are numbers given. So this is a new team. This is a new team. Now COVID vaccine came. One of the most repeatedly asked questions, sir, what is the price of COVID vaccine? So if they put 1 lakh of a price, now I cannot buy, because the economics of the human beings is the most important to understand before you fix a price for that particular drug, which is called as health economics. This is a very new team which is coming, and we started giving trainings also on health economics and outcome research. So the prices definition or defining of the right price for the drug is called as health economics. So now these are the teams which I have already explained you. The first is clinical trial pharmacist, and the second is CRA, the third is bioanalyst, and the fourth is clinical data manager, the fifth is statisticians, and the sixth is medical writer, and the seventh is the health economics. So now what I can be or what you can be, so that's what we have to understand. Okay, now a HCP, a pharmacist. A HCP is a pharmacist, healthcare professional. He can be a scientist, like a pharmaceutical scientist, or a safety reporter, or a medical writer, or a clinical data manager, or a clinical trial associate, or a medical writer, or a statistical analyst. So this many jobs are there in terms of clinical research. The only thing is we have not opened our eyes till now. And I was the person who have worked in most of the streams, starting from clinical trials until the statistical analysis. End to end, I have worked in most of the companies. So now, here, one of the statement which I want to read is the patient safety. One of the most important responsibility in clinical research. The drugs or devices, cosmetics, which you are doing a research on human beings. The most important words which we have to remember is patient safety. It's not a job role. It's not at all a job role, and it's the responsibility and the oath we take for healthier community. Every one of us are responsible to bring the safest drug, the drug which is having a wonderful efficacy. So, and patient safety and beyond, these are the jobs which we have, and we should understand the importance of the patient safety in terms of clinical research. Now, one of the most important question, sir, who hires us into this companies? So the first company which will be hired is pharmaceutical companies. Example, Pfizer or Reddy's or Arvindo or Zydus or Sun Pharma or whatever pharma companies you tell, all pharmaceutical companies have jobs in medical writing, pharmacovigilance, clinical data managers, and statistics and bioanalysts. All the jobs which I have explained are there in the pharmaceutical companies. First thing. Next one, CROs. Okay, contract research organizations, IQVIA and PPD, Covance, Parexel, Syneos, Clients, Access Clinical. So n number of CROs are there who hires the wonderful packages to the pharmacists who have good knowledge. And now healthcare facilities like hospitals, you can be working in UMCs like ESA hospitals or NIMS hospital or AIMS hospital or Nanavati hospital. All these hospitals, you can work in healthcare facilities, and you have SMOs like SiteSpace, KIMS, and so on. There are so many SMOs are there. And one of the most important thing, bio IT companies. So you have Accenture, we have jobs. Cognizant, we have jobs. Infosys, we have jobs. Oracle, we have jobs. IBM, we have jobs. Wipro, we have jobs. TCS, we have jobs. So almost all the bio IT companies, we have the jobs. And yes, ethics committees are also there, and regulatory bodies also you can work like FDA or DCGI is also you can work in the regulatory bodies. And what are the skills required? What are the skills required? So now whenever company comes to me to hire students, they ask me this first question: specialized clinical research knowledge, because this industry, whole industry works on knowledge. If you're not knowledgeable, you will not be hired. Because if you make small mistake also, thousands and thousands of people may die. If you're not taking informed consent, if you're not using the right consent, if you're not following the protocol, thousands and thousands of people can die. Your drug may stop. You may have huge fines. You may have branding bad name. So these are all things which you have to understand. The first thing, clinical research knowledge is compulsory. Competence on medical and therapeutic terminologies like anatomy, physiology, and pharmacology is needed. Ability to work independently. Yes, you should be working as independently as a corporate industries, understanding the patient safeties and regulatory guidelines, not the one country guidelines, but across all countries. Tomorrow you may want to go to Europe or US or Canada or Australia. My students are working in different countries, and my students are currently attending classes from Germany or from Canada and from US as online modes. So they are learning international regulatory guidelines. We have to blindly follow those. It's not the textbooks, it's the guidelines. And should be familiar with domain knowledge, and you should have computer literacy, the laptop literacy, and communication skills should be very much good and requires a proactive approach, excellent written and oral communication, and strong interpersonal skills to interact with clients and managements and your peers respectively. These are the skills which are needed to work into clinical research industry. What names I have said you, all those organizations. Now let's focus on what is actually Clinosol. What is Clinosol? So now a Clinosol, I have given some questions and then I have given the answers also. A quality focused ISO certified company. So Clinosol is an ISO 9001 2015 certified organization. Yes, it is. We are focusing on the quality of the training and the recruitment and also the consulting services. And is a private limited firm. Yes, Clinosol is the private limited firm as per Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Next question. A trademark registered organization. Yes, Clinosol is a trademark registered organization. We have registered our trademark and you can see always a logo with a trademark TM. And a national award winner. Yes, we have got a national award last year for highest placements last year. So we have crossed the placements of 90 people, above 90 people for lockdown period. During lockdown period, everyone was worried they will lose their jobs, but our students have got more than 90 jobs. And this month, we have already got 8 to 10 jobs. And next question, an academic excellence award winner. Yes, we have got an academic excellence award for the year 2019 and 20. A near 100% placement record. Yes, we have crossed more than 98% of placement for our students. So rest of 2% students have gone for further education, maybe for MPharm or for US or Europe. And it is just run by industry experts. Yes, we have a team of 10 people. Clinosol is having a team of 10 people. Everyone is working in industries or worked in industries and they are working in Clinosol. As me, with having a 15 years of experience. What Clinosol is known for? A wide range of courses. You name any course, clinical trials, yes, clinical research, yes, data management, yes, biostatistics, yes, medical writing, yes, pharmacovigilance, yes, human health economics, yes. So all kind of courses we have in Clinosol, and training methodologies and design and implemented by academic and industry experts. So we have more than 30-40 years of experienced people in our advisory boards who reviews our syllabus, who reviews timely manner of aspects which industry is looking. We don't train on theoretical things. We only focus on practical aspects into clinical research. Our syllabus is been modified every 6 months. As of now, all the classes have been conducted online. But with the online also, we have reached to more than 97% of placement, which is near to 98% as of now. So we have tie-ups with CROs, hospitals, SMOs, and ethics committees, and we have given internships for PharmD final years and MPharm final years. BPharm final years, we may not expect internships because you have your exams, but PharmD final years and MPharm final years, we have sent for internships. So many people are doing internships with paid internship and 2 years of course validity. So every course in Clinosol is valid for 2 years. Any number of classes you can attend till you get placed. So even though if you are in PharmD 5th year, you can join now and you can stay for till 2 years. You can attend multiple batches, either it is online or offline classes. You can use your 2 years of course validity. The course completes within 3 months to 6 months. Within that time, you will be placed. Else, you can continue your training for 2 years. So the first organization who implemented 2 years course validity is Clinosol. And the complementary courses like communication skills and Excel and pharmacology classes, and also your aptitude classes. Industry expert talks. Yes, every month you have 2 industry experts who visits us, either it is online or offline. 360 degrees job guidance and industry readiness. Your resumes are being prepared by us, and certificate verifications. Clinosol gives a certificate with a registration number and a barcode where they can be scanned and they can see what are the aspects students have done in Clinosol, and tax benefited GST bills can be given from Clinosol. So we are working in terms of very quality aspects. Now these are the social networking sites which we have. You can go through it, you can like and follow us, and you will get a lot of job openings here. In Facebook, it is Clinosol Research. You can search as Clinosol Research. and you can follow in Facebook. And in LinkedIn, you have a page which is called as Clinosol Research. You can follow in LinkedIn also. You will be getting a lot of openings, continuously openings, and a lot of trainings and industry talks and free sessions and all those things. And in Instagram, you have Clinosol Research. You can search Clinosol Research. You can follow us on Instagram also. And in YouTube channel, as Anwar sir was telling, YouTube channel also you can subscribe. It's Clinosol Research. You have a lot of free guidance in Clinosol Research. And yes, one of the most important things, can AA cause recession in clinical research jobs? Now we are speaking about, sir, AA is coming and do we lose our jobs? Answer is not at all. We are losing our jobs. We are getting more jobs when artificial intelligence is being included into clinical research. So now once artificial intelligence is being included into clinical research, the number of jobs which we may get in future will be increased. But you should understand, along with academics, you should have the extracurricular aspects like articles, blogs, or certifications, trainings, updation of knowledge, and all those things to compete with the rest of students and to get the right jobs into the company. So that's where Clinosol is doing it. So how to reach us? So these are the phone numbers. We have 3 offices as of now, and we have opened new offices in Bangalore and Chennai also. So we have offices in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Visakhapatnam, and Germany also. These are the social media connects, and these are the phone numbers which you can connect, and this is the mail ID which you can use. And coming back to the jobs which we have currently, so the people are waiting for these jobs. I know people are waiting for the jobs. We have CRCs, clinical research coordinators, internships in Pune, PharmD 6 years, MPharm pharmacologist can apply. For Mumbai also we have, for jobs we have, Ahmedabad also we have, Hyderabad also we have, and Bangalore also we have. And we have some of the jobs of pharmacovigilance also, and we have the